Hi, I'm Becky Day, and I work for Okanogan County WorkSource, and I'm a BFET Counselor there. And I wanted to talk a little bit today about the success of Taylor. Hi, Taylor.
Hi.
Hi. So can you tell me a little bit about what life was like before you got your new job at Mid-Valley Clinic?
Well, I was a stay-at-home mom of 3 boys, so I basically ran them around to school, did activities with them, cared for them, their health, their everyday needs, and I actually decided to go back to school online, and so I'm doing that as well. So I just managed all of that, and plus, like my own housework stuff, and just,
Cool.
yeah.
So how did you feel before you became employed?
Well, I felt a little like I wasn't providing for my family. Like, I know that my boyfriend had a job, but like I always felt like I wasn't good enough because I was just a stay-at-home mom and did the laundry or just, did stuff like that, and I felt like I needed to support my kids and like have my own confidence. Not confidence, but like my own something about providing to my kids and my family.
Right, your own thing.
Yeah.
Right? Okay,
Yeah.
That's good. So what were some obstacles that you faced throughout this journey? I know you and I talked about like maybe self-esteem, and maybe the fear of the unknown.
Well, one obstacle I would have to say is trying to, like, this is my dream, like, going back to school, having this job. So I think my number one thing was probably like managing the job and my home life and making sure that my kids were taken care of, making sure that I have everything in order so things don't get crazy at home. I feel like that was my main obstacle.
Okay, thank you. So what is your current position that you have here?
I am a patient account representative.
And what do you do?
I attend patients, I book their appointments, I do insurance verifications, I call and sometimes have to reschedule for, the patients. The nurse calls me and asks me if I can reschedule for them, answer the phones.
Sounds like a lot.
And answer questions and transfer them to who they need to be talked to, or if they can't reach them, then I take phone notes and then make sure that the providers or the nurses or the managers get their phone notes.
Yeah, you've had a lot to learn.
Mm-hmm.
You just recently started, is that correct?
Yeah. About a month ago.
How did you learn about the position and how did this all come about?
I just completed a 80-hour internship with the hospital and the clinic, and that's how I kind of got my foot in the door and got this job.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of a long journey because you knew you had to find a company to do the internship. But how'd that come about?
Well, I got an email one day from my teacher saying that we needed to do an internship, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I went straight to you, and we called around and finally found the place. We had a deadline.
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
And we had to make sure that it was set for that deadline.
It was stressful, right?
Mm-hmm, yes, because we only had like a month.
A month, yeah.
Yeah.
So we didn't panic, and we found Michaela, and we found Becky, and Mid-Valley Clinic. Sorry.
It's okay.
But we found them, and we arranged a meeting, right?
Yes.
And you were nervous for that meeting, right?
Oh, yes.
So what happened at that meeting?
Well, we talked about the objectives of my internship and what I needed to cover and to make sure that we could get it all done. And if we couldn't, then we would find somewhere else for me to accomplish the goals of the internship.
Yeah. And I think I remember you were really nervous because you had already applied here once, right? And interviewed once. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So you had asked me if I would come with you.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. And why did you ask me?
Because I felt like you could help me get the extra push. I feel like you helped me with the with my confidence and make sure that they understood what I wanted and what understood, both ways.
Okay, so you were represented fairly,
Mhm,
right?
yes.
Okay, that's good. So let's talk a little bit about the BFET program, which is my program, right? It stands for Basic Food Employment and Training.
Mhm.
So I saw you at WorkSource,
Yeah.
and that's how we first met, and then we arranged this. In what way has the BFET program benefited you and your family?
Oh, it has benefited us tremendously. This program has not only helped me get this job, but also has helped me with staying afloat.
Okay.
While I can get here and get, I guess, comfortable here,
Comfortable.
and make sure that I,
Succeed.
yeah, and you guys could really, if I need anything, if I have any questions, you guys are there for me, and I can make sure that I'm doing things right, or things like that.
Okay. And I think you were very excited because you were still going to continue through school,
Mm-hmm.
but at some point in your journey, you realized that you reached out to me again and you said, Becky, I need to get a job. Remember that? So what happened that would, all of a sudden you changed direction, but you said you remembered the hospital where you had that internship, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what happened in that journey?
Well, so I just kind of kept an eye out to see what was going to become available at either the hospital or the clinic, and then the first thing I noticed I applied to, and that was kind of where it led.
Okay.
And then other positions opened, and I asked them to send my applications to those other positions, and
Yeah. And I remember you coming into my office and saying, Becky, I'm so excited, there's some
I know.
openings, And you were just over the top because you knew by that time, because that internship created some open doors for you, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And you got to know the work culture, and you got to know a lot of the employees there. And so you just knew you wanted to work there, right? Yeah?
Mhm.
So tell me about the journey on, how you got you applied for the position. And didn't you apply for an accounts payable?
So the original position was the accounts payable,
Okay.
and then it opened up to this position that I'm in, which I'm very thankful for, and then another position at the hospital.
Uh-huh. And how did you prepare for the interview? Because again, you were still nervous, right?
So you guys helped me prepare for the interview because I haven't interviewed in 3 years for
Wow.
2 years.
2 years?
I guess that was 2 years ago when I
Okay.
interviewed here. Yeah.
Okay. So you were nervous.
Yeah.
And how did that interview prep for people that are maybe thinking of needing brushing up on their skills like you talked
It
about?
was amazing. That helped me out so much. It helped me with my confidence. It helped me with my nervousness. Like, it got me open, and it got me really pumped for, to just come in and nail the interview and just be open with them and not super nervous.
Yeah. And we always say there at WorkSource that we want you to feel, we provide the hard questions for you and good positive feedback and constructive criticism so that you succeed at the actual interview.
Yeah, and I think the hard questions are really good because then you're practicing with the hard questions, so when you get to the real interview with the hard questions, you kind of already have an idea and you're not struggling.
Right. Okay. So what has been the response from your friends and family after you told them about your new job?
Oh, they were really excited.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because they know that I've been wanting this for a long time. Along with school, too.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah.
they're all excited that I'm finally doing what I'm wanting to do.
You got a career.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. What would you tell other job seekers who have hidden disabilities that they may not know about the Okanogan WorkSource BFET program?
To not be afraid.
Not be afraid. Okay. And that was one of the things we talked about when I first interviewed you is the fear.
Mm-hmm.
The fear, what does that feel like to you? Because I know you and I've talked about you didn't want anybody to know, right? All through school you didn't want anybody to know that you had a disability. And walk us through those feelings because you know that other people out there are struggling too, right? Sorry, I don't want to make you cry.
No, I don't mind talking about it, but it's just for other people to finally go out there and just open up and not be afraid. It takes a while. I mean, with being bullied and just
I can't reach it.
having people look at you and talk about you in ways that they don't even understand.
Yeah.
It is hard.
It's
So that's why I just finally I just grew. It's not like I never went to therapy for, for being bullied or for not, doing what I wanted to do, but don't be afraid. Who cares what other people think? Like, just do what you want to do, and if you want to do something, then just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
exactly what she's been doing.
Yeah, like that's what I'm doing. I don't care what other people think, and along, this place has helped me so much. Not just with my confidence, but like, they provided me things to do my job so I could be comfortable, and people won't look at me or ask questions. I mean, I have got questions, but I just kind of make a funny joke about it or something, like. It doesn't bother. I mean, now it doesn't bother me, but a couple of years ago and when I was younger, yeah. But now I'm just like, I'll just do what I have to do to, so I can follow my dreams.
Good for you. And I gotta say, you're my hero. You are. You are my hero. I too struggle with disabilities. The hidden disabilities that people would never know. And I think there's more people out there that have our common ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just applaud you for being brave and going out there and taking a chance with me.
And some days I do struggle a little bit, but with the things with the support and things that people provide me, it makes it a lot easier for me. Mm-hmm. So I don't have to sit there and explain to every single person that asks questions. Mm-hmm. So.
And I think you and I talked about your son also has a disability, mm-hmm. and it's very important for you to show him, be the role model for him. Is that right?
Yeah, we want to live life. I don't want to be babied. I don't want him to be mm-hmm. babied. We're normal people. Just treat us normal. I mean, we have our ups and downs, but we get through it personally. We don't have to explain to everybody.
Right. And you're doing a fantastic job here. From the reports I get around here from your supervisor, Becky, you're just doing great. And I don't remember the rest of my questions. I'm sorry. You're super cool. Hi, I'd like to introduce Michaela, and you are with Mid-Valley Hospital, is that correct?
Yes, I am the Director of Marketing and Public Relations there.
Okay, thank you. So I wanted to interview you a little bit about Taylor.
Okay.
And how you first met her, and how she worked into your organization.
Okay. So I believe it was you that reached out to me initially to see what we could do for an internship program. And I was fairly new to our organization, but I knew that Becky was interested in having some interns, as well as, just our administration is totally into giving people opportunities and having them have hands-on experience in healthcare. So you came in with her, I shook her hand. She was very nervous, but she sat down and she went over what the program needed, and you kind of helped her in any areas that she may have skipped over. And we felt totally confident that we could provide her a good internship experience. And so I think there was some paperwork that we had to fill out for her school, and we got that all squared away. And then she showed up for her first day and sat in my office, and we got her schedule all figured out, and off she went.
Yeah, and what I liked about that whole meeting is that you stepped up and wanted to take the lead in that.
Yeah.
Why'd you do that?
So kind of the reason I'm in my role, or have the experience to even be in my role, is because I worked a lot in community outreach. And so I like to work with people, and I really have a soft spot for people who are interested in healthcare. My mom's been a nurse for 41 years, and so we've always done kind of outreach stuff at her job. So I saw Taylor, I saw that she was genuinely interested in being in the healthcare field, and I kind of just wanted to make sure that her experience was the best that it could be. So I kind of grabbed that up and took that responsibility on.
And you made that connection, I felt,
Yeah.
right off the bat with her.
Yeah, I mean, and part of it's a woman-to-woman thing. Like, you
Right.
see a woman that is, seeking opportunity, you want her to be successful. So.
And then, along the same lines, as the internship went on, I remember you coming into my office, and I was at another desk, but you were there for another matter, I think, but you leaned over and you told me something. Do you remember what that was?
I don't.
You had told me that she was working out really well,
Yeah.
that Taylor was, and how much you really liked her being there.
Yeah, so Taylor showed up early every single day, no matter what was going on. There was a couple of days that she had things with her kids and whatever, and she made it work out so that she was there early every single day. And she showed up and she looked professional, and she was so happy to be there that she caught the attention of my boss, who is the CEO of the organization. And he began to ask about her, just how's she doing? He developed a soft spot for her. I think he was in that first initial meeting, wasn't he?
I think he was.
I think he was too. Anyways, he could see from a mile away that she was enthusiastic about her job, and we're an old organization, so we've had a lot of staff that have been around the block and can provide a lot of experience and background information for her to make sure that this is really where she wanted to be. And every single day she'd come in and tell me, so Monday she'd be assigned to go to the acute care ward clerk station or whatever, and so she'd come back the next day like, oh my god, I learned all of these things and it was so great, and these people are so wonderful and awesome and they've been here forever. And then I sent her to the clinic, to the just to random places. She went to a scheduling, I don't know, she's like an insurance verifier, I don't even know what she does, and she's like, this lady is in this small office and she does things all day long, and I am so amazed by she was just like, she was so into the experience.
Very passionate.
Yeah, she absolutely was. And so we've had other interns and they were not nearly as deeply into it as Taylor was. And so for her passion to have caught the attention of our administrator is a really big deal.
That is cool. Yeah.
And so when her internship was done, he would continue to ask her like, hey, whatever happened with that girl? Did we find a position for her? No, there's really nothing open yet. Oh, okay, well, when something does, let's make sure that we reach out to her. And so the stars aligned and here she is.
That is cool.
Yeah.
So you've touched on some of these, her strengths and her skills and all of that, and her attitude. Having a great attitude makes a big difference. But what have you noticed since she's come to work here about her?
So I would say that Taylor is very much someone who is aiming to please. So I mean, and that's why she got hired, right? So it is the attitude. She got hired for her attitude, not for her background in this field, because she didn't really have any other than her internship. So the fact that she would show up to work we've heard nothing but good things about her since she's been here, but she talked in your guys' interview about her confidence level, and she's popped by my office a couple times and just like, had this, we switched from me being kind of a mentor to me now being her peer, and her coworker. And so she comes in and she has this confidence and this like air about her that it's like, there's been a couple times where she's been overwhelmed, where she didn't necessarily get the training that we had hoped that she would get, just because of, I'm sure Becky will talk about that, staff not necessarily being available to help train her. But every time I talk to her, she's just like, she's so ready to go get it.
Yeah.
And it's almost like because she wants to have the pride in telling somebody that she was able to take care of that. And so I've just seen that grow a lot since I've met her.
Cool. And some of those things, she feels comfortable with going to you.
Yeah.
I coach her at the work, so a lot of the stuff I coach her on is back at the office.
Okay.
So I'm working behind the scenes with her, but I'm saying, Taylor, you want to look for somebody that's a natural support in the workplace. Right. Somebody that you can go to, they will hold you accountable, and kind of you have that trust, right? So that's what we do at WorkSource. A question that I have is, how have you seen our partnership grown between the WorkSource office and Mid-Valley Clinic?
I would say that in general, we have a fairly strong partnership. Every time that we have identified a need in our organization, someone at WorkSource has been super adamant about finding a solution to that. And we are super appreciative. Like, we are a public organization, so our job is to provide care to our community, and so wellness is a big wheel of things, right? And financial stability is one of those things that's involved in wellness. And so if we can see our community be well in different ways, it's a huge deal to us. And this partnership, I think, has provided several people opportunities that they would not have necessarily otherwise had. If we hadn't made the connections between our staff and yours, and have this comfortable level of being able to request things, and know that you guys care enough to support us. So
yeah, thank you.
I think that's a big deal.
I do too. What would you tell another employer who is considering hiring somebody with a disability?
I would say that you would be surprised at how much they can deliver, not only in terms of working. I mean, there's probably things that you'll have to teach maybe a couple times or work a little harder to set that foundation, but once that foundation is set, I think that you'll learn a lot more from these folks than you expect to, and just in like I don't even know, like just a well-rounded way. There's a gentleman that we haven't really talked about here, but he's taught our staff a lot about growth, I think, personal growth, and we're all really, really proud of him. And it's so funny because he works in a department that does their own thing, and the amount of people that he has touched has been quite interesting. And they all are just like, man, that guy's so... Anytime you talk to him, he's just in a happy mood, he's sweet, he responds. I mean, he's awesome.
Right.
And Taylor is awesome too. Taylor I don't really consider to have you guys were talking about it, it's like an internal thing. We don't see that in her at all. She's like a superstar performer, so but when it's a visible thing, it's a little bit different. So
right. Yeah. Thank you. And you guys have a great inclusive work culture here. So we don't find that often, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty special.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we have a really awesome group of people here, and it's very much a community. Like, it's more like a family. Like, brothers and sisters get on their nerves, but at the end of the day, you can come together and work things out, and that's how this place is.
Yeah, us too at WorkSource. So,
yeah.
Hi, I'm Becky Corson. I'm the clinic administrator of Mid-Valley Clinic here in Omak.
Hi, Becky. Thanks for taking the time today.
Well, hi, Becky.
Becky and Becky. So I want to ask you a few questions about Taylor. One of them is, how does it feel to know that you're helping someone to better their life?
Thinking about that question, I have to say that our goal here at the clinic is patients first. Take care of the patients and they will take care of you. So I think it's the same mindset with our employees. Take care of your employees and they'll take care of you.
Right. That's great. Thank you. So you remember, I asked this of Michaela as well. In our first meeting, you were at the first meeting, and you remember meeting Taylor, but that hadn't been your first time you met her, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So tell us about that.
Well, she had come in and interviewed for the position she now has probably a couple of years ago, and honestly she didn't interview well because she didn't stand out as the candidate I would have chosen. So and between that interview and the one that she did recently, my clinical supervisor always joins me with those interviews, and we both looked at each other, man, she just is so like 110% better than she was ever before. She was stellar. She presented herself well, and she was confident, and she really stood out. It's like, wow, you could tell that she had the tenacity to move forward with her goals and what she wanted to do.
So after that meeting, did you have any reservations, or things that concerned you about bringing her on board?
Well, we have always had so many students here,
Okay.
from physician assistants and nurse practitioners that have worked here, and then other students that have come through here. And this group here kind of embraces students.
Okay.
And so bringing her here was like more along the line, I think talking with Michaela, was more along the lines of, okay, where are we going to have her go first? And we just kind of, I hate to say it this way, threw her to the wolves, because we just had her do everything.
Yeah.
And I moved her everywhere. So she got a taste of everything in the clinic. And she was just, eating the whole thing up. She just really took advantage of it. And I could tell you stories about that, because she just really, we just wanted her to have a full picture of what it's like to be in the healthcare industry.
Right. Okay. Can you tell me? I understand that she got a touch screen
Mm-hmm.
and a left-handed keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
So how did that all come about?
Well, we're sensitive to people with a little bit of disabilities, and so just seeing that she had that need, one of our employees here is very proactive in meeting those needs, and he happens to be in IT. So he saw that need and immediately jumped on that and got that for her, and was tickled to death when it all came in and got it all set up for her. So
That's great. I know it's helping her a lot to get her. It makes her faster.
mm-hmm.
Although I knew her as the one-handed speed typer, which is how she introduced herself to me first. Let's see, what would you tell another employer who's considering hiring somebody that has a disability?
Well, in Taylor, what I saw was some extra spunk. She wanted to apply herself at whatever she could do, and she was going to overcome her concerns and her issues, and she just had that desire to overcome. And I think sometimes dealing with a employee that or employee candidate who is wanting to overcome a disability, especially, is there's some tenacity in there, and I think you have to look for that in them. She did not come across as anyone that felt sorry for where she was at, but rather wanted to be an overcomer and succeed at the goals that she had set out for herself, and she's pretty ambitious with that. And so I think you got to give her a lot of credit, and I think that set her above everyone else, because I knew she would want to apply herself well into the job, and she already knew everybody here, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah, isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Especially when you have that connection at the beginning. And I really appreciate the fact that you guys took her on as an internship, and she learned so much. What would you tell future job seekers or the community about the WorkSource program and how we've helped Taylor in this journey and how we have a partnership now?
Well, I think, seeing it through you, Becky, when you came along with Taylor to the table when we were discussing the whole idea of an internship with her, there was a lot of support there. You could see that there. And quite often what I see is people just need to be built up from where they are. They've lost their confidence, they don't feel competent. And I think what you did is you brought along that support to her to help her to overcome those fears and some of those kind of things. And I think, with people like you working with these candidates, it makes all the difference in the world. She is so much different than she was 2 years before, and I think it's largely due to the work you guys do at WorkSource.
Well, thank you so much. It's kind. We do care.
Yes, that shows.
Is there anything that you would like to talk about that maybe we haven't touched on so far?
Well, I would probably say that she proved herself to be that tenacious, because her first month here hasn't been easy. We've had a lot of absenteeism up front, which meant that in some respects she had to learn a lot on the job without all the training we had planned for her. And quite often it would fall through with what we had available to her, and so she just learned the best she could, and by golly, she was going to succeed if hell froze over, if you want to see that.
Yeah.
She just really wanted to do well, and so she worked very, very hard despite not having the full training that I would have wanted her to have. So I give her an awful lot of credit. She is very tenacious. She wants to succeed. She cares about her job. She cares about the patients, and it shows.
Well, thank you, Becky. I appreciate you taking the time today.
You're welcome. Thank you.